SolidWorks tutorial. This time we'll be having a look at doing a square to round transition with some bits and pieces to it that just make it a little bit different than usual. If you're doing a straight square to round transition, you could use the previous tutorial that we did in task 7, but instead of the first sketch being a circle, we'd make it the square with the radius corners, and you'd make just a standard square to round. But this time we have quite some differences, so to meet the compliances of task 8, we'll just show you those differences and how you can go about creating the auxiliary plane on an angle and etc. to do that. So we're going to start with the first sketch on the top plane. So I'm just going to use a corner rectangle, and we need to put some radiuses on it. Now the idea of the radius is, if you think practically, if you're making this in a press brake, you're not going to have sharp, crisp, square corners. They will have a radius to the natural, just because of the machine process you're using. So we need to create those in SolidWorks as well for this to work. So we're going to have a 2 mil radius. And then we need to dimension this. So we're going to go 50 and 40. I'm just going to follow the printed sizes in the help sheet that accompanies this. So, and we'll just drag this up, and now we can dimension this from the origin because it's offset. So we have 30 offset that way, and we have 16 offset that way. Now that we've got that, we need to put our cut in here. There's a couple of ways of doing that, and the one that I'll probably use is just to put in a simple, we'll just use centerline as our construction. That way it's not going to become part of the sketch. Now what we need to do here is ensure that this line is going to be coincident with the origin, and that way we can dimension down our slot, make it 1 mil again, and use the trim features, trim to closest, and just trim away that centerpiece. So that is the basis for our bottom sketch, and now we will accept that, accept the trim, close the sketch, and now we need to create our sketch for putting the auxiliary plane on. So what we will do is create that now on the front plane. So as you can see, it's intersected through there. So we want to create a sketch on the front plane, and using the origin again, we'll just use a construction line because we don't want it to actually be part of the sketch. And if we go up here, and we will just make that normal to it, makes it much easier for us to work with. So again, if we can go back and we can dimension this up there at 60. If you don't want to do an angle, you can dimension this from there and give it a vertical dimension on there as well, and that would be about 25, would be the same. So but yeah, that makes it fully defined, so we're okay with that. So as you can see, we've now got a construction line there that's helping. So we'll do like what we've done before and go to the features, geometry, plane, and our first reference is the actual line itself, and the second reference we click on the tip of the line, and then that will bring the plane round perpendicular to the construction line that we've built. Tick OK, and we have plane 1. We can now make that normal too, so we can now sketch on here. So the sketch we're going to do now on here is very similar to what we did in task 7. So I'm going to use the center point arc, and if we do it on the origin, and we'll dimension that up. Make that 20mm radius, and we will make that bottom point, that top one, and that make it a horizontal relationship, and then we can dimension. You could, if you wanted to, say choose that line and that line to make them create a relationship there. You can make them coincident, and that way whatever dimension you drive that to, this will follow suit. Or you can just dimension it and drive it by the 1mm dimension. So if we're happy with that, we can now click OK, and you'll see the two sketches now created. And what we can do here is if we left click or right click into the plane area, and we can hide that. Failing that, if you want to, you can go up to view, and you can turn all these different bits and pieces off and on here. So you can turn the planes off and on, you can turn origins, temporary axes, all sorts of things. So these planes, we can turn them all off and on in there as well. So now that we have that, we can head back to our sheet metal tool and choose lofted bends, and we're going to choose formed, and our material thickness we're going to set to 0.5, and we now need to just choose the two profiles. So choose the bottom half of that sketch and the bottom half of that sketch, and you'll see the profile preview come through. So once you're happy with the preview, if you right click, you can go OK, and then we can just check that it's going to flatten OK, and there's your flat pattern. Now for this task we don't need to create any drawings or anything, but if you wanted to go ahead and get a DXF profile of that, when it's flattened, if you right click on it, you can go export to DXF and go through the process there. So if we were to do that, so wherever your path is, we're ever going to save it to. So we'll just do it on the desktop for the demonstration. And it'll have a little bit of a think, it's processing it. Up here, it's going to ask some details. So we want a sheet metal piece. Tick sheet metal and go OK. It's going to process that. And there's the profile giving you a preview. You can save that, and it will save it to the folder location that you chose previously. That you can then email or send to the profile cutter, and they'll smash it out for you on the profile, and then you can just fold it up and you'll get the profile that the shape that was created. Alright, cheers. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope it's been helpful, and all the best with having a play at that. Alright, cheers. Bye.